Everybody needs a little time away. Time for me to say every song. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise to. What's up, everybody? It's for all you lovers out there. Happy Valentine's Day. If you have someone, give them all your time today. And if you don't, and you're okay with that, that's great. Give yourself time today. And if you're looking for someone, you happen to be a little lonely, don't worry, man. It's going to turn around, or gal. It's going to turn around. Go out there and put yourself in the mix. And be open. Be vulnerable, right? I am not one to give love advice. I'm a guitar player. That's it. How you guys doing? Good? I had a lot of fun making the last video. And I got a lot of good responses and stuff, so I figured I'd do another one. I got a couple questions in the last one in the comments, which is great. That's what I'm doing this for, to kind of answer some questions for you all and give you my 2 cents for whatever that's worth. Probably less than 2 cents, but I've been around. I've done a few things now, half a decade or half a century almost here, and most of that's been playing guitar. So the question I got, which was great, was talking about, or asking about, what are some daily practice routines that I would suggest, right? And so if I had a student come to me and ask that, I suppose I would need to ask a few follow-up questions, like, where are you at, in your playing, on your journey, right? Because that would probably have a lot to, do with selecting something that you're going to do every day, to improve your playing from where you're at. I'm a big believer in small improvements every day. It's like exercising, right? Like if you do one time 1,000 push-ups, it's not going to have as much effect as 10 push-ups every day. All right, so that's where I'd start with. Do small things every day rather than once a week sit down for 5 or 6 hours. I mean, you'll probably get something out of it, but it's the repeat, because if you go back to it after another week, you're going to be back where you started from, right? So that's the idea, is to do daily things, daily practices, little small routines every day to get better. And that's what I try to do. Like, I have my guitars out. I have them upstairs. I have them everywhere where I can reach them if I think about it, if I have a second, if I'm ready to go and everybody else is still getting ready, and grab it off the wall, try to play a little something, just because I like to. It's not really I have to try to do it. I get to do it while I wait. So that being said, how do you pick something that you're going to practice every day? If it's going to be one thing, or maybe a couple things, like if you have a half hour, divided into 3 10-minute things that you practice, or two 15-minute things, or whatever. If you have 15 minutes, do something for 15, or 3 things for 5 minutes. That's another suggestion, is kind of break up your time, budget your time, on the things you're working on, whatever they may be. Cool. So I guess I'd say when I was younger, things I'd work on were more like practice. I mean, like technique sort of stuff, and actually playing the guitar, mechanics, right? I do a lot of this. So I divide my time, say, if I had 15 minutes, divide it into 5 minutes of this sort of thing. All the way up. And I'd probably do that with the metronome, right? And then, maybe do other variations where you're doing, starting on the second finger. And then things like that. So those are like tongue twisters for your fingers, right? So that's good for mechanics, good for syncing up your picking with this hand, the fretting hand, and getting your fingers used to doing what you want them to do when you want them to do it, right? And playing with the metronome. So if that's the point of the journey you're at, where you're trying to get that feel or that comfortableness with the guitar, that's something you can work on. If it's more like bending, that might be a good thing to practice for a while, just slide it and then, bend up to that note. So you have a reference pitch and then you bend it. Or try slide down and have it pre-bend. Like that, right? Half note bends. Half step. Different fingers. So that's another thing you can practice, right? So if you're in that phase of your playing, you could try that. If you're in the phase where you're just beginning and you're just playing chords, you could learn the chords, right? And then get good at like making sure all the notes are clear. And then the next thing you can work on is get good at switching quickly. These might not sound musical, really. They're more like challenges, more like game. You gamify it, right? Where you're doing these things to try to see how fast you can switch. All right. So then you move on, and maybe you want to practice. You want to learn your scales, right? So that's something you could do every day. You don't think of it as, it's a practice routine, but if you're learning something, the more you repeat it, the better off you're going to be, right? So if, you're learning the 5 shapes of the pentatonic and the first one is G minor, right? You put it in G. And maybe you don't know the rest. So maybe that's what you do. You start with this, and then you figure out what the next one is. Look on a sheet or something. Right? Learn the third one. Maybe that's enough for you for like a week or two. Just get those under your fingers so you can always do it. And be like, all right, the second shape is this. Third shape is that. Learn them all. So you're back at the one. So that's the thing you could do, every day. Then, learn your 7-note modes. All 5 shapes, your modes, right? That's Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian. Wait, that's not Aeolian. Locrian. Nobody uses Locrian. But it's worth knowing the shape because it's not always Locrian. And then back to Ionian. So you learn those, right? So that's a thing. So now you know the shapes, right? Then you want to like break them into scale sequences. And I used to practice this all the time. I'd warm up with this, all that stuff. Then I'd break them into like fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right? Scale sequences, or breaking your pentatonics into fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stuff like that. Like that might not be something that you do in a solo. For the whole thing, you might not go all the way up and all the way down, but you're kind of training your fingers, right, to do that sort of thing, training your ear to hear that sound and be like, oh, that's what I want to do next, right? And you might just do it for a second, you know. Or something in the pentatonics. Whatever, it will come out in your improving when you're just jamming, hopefully, you know. You can break those into fives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So that's the type of thing that you can do, and that just gives you more tricks and textures you can make with these scales when you need them, when you're painting away with notes, right? When you're improvising. So that's like next level. You go up higher. So then you kind of feel comfortable with the scales, right? Or different techniques, pinch harmonics. Let me put on a little gain. That's a cool thing you can mess with, like this bend. That's all I'm doing. And then every other bend, try to pick, add a pick harmonic. Right? So then you know you have control of it because you can turn it on and turn it off. So that's cool. If you don't know how to do that, you can look it up or let me know. Any of these things, if you want me to get more in depth, leave a comment below, man. I'm looking to help, so I'm looking for ideas. I just want to share the knowledge at this point in my life. So, yeah. So now you know how to, at this point, play with the scales, create things with the scales, different textures, slides, bends, sequences, up and down. So then you got to learn what to do with the scales over a chord progression, right? Like you might start like with a chord progression, like the song I was playing, Chicago, right? Everybody needs a little time away, time to play. Right, so that starts in E. You could just play E major, all the modes over it and just jam over it like that. And some of the notes will work, some won't. If you have no sort of method for figuring out which notes to play at certain times, it might be kind of like throwing paint against the canvas and hoping the Mona Lisa pops up. But that's fine at first. You just follow your ear and just try to hit the right notes. And if it's the wrong note, and if you hear something like that, you just kind of go down or go up in the scale and just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. So do that for a while and just improvise over different songs you like, jam with records, try to figure out what key it's in, So that might be a daily thing you do. Just pop on the radio is what I used to do. That way you don't even really know what song's coming up. You just say, oh, here's another song. You figure out what key it is, You go, oh, there it is. That's the key. Is it major or minor? Oh, it's major. And then just kind of go from there and just like, play some major stuff. See what happens. So that's another thing you can do. Or what I do, so we're up to where I am daily, right? This is what I do. I do a lot of the pentatonic stuff, right? So I do a lot of warming up with these things, sequences of sixes, with a metronome, and I try to get the groove right and really get great fall in the pocket, in fives and different groups. Like all the shapes all the way up the neck and all around and stuff like that, just to make sure my fingers are always kind of, you know, with me when I need them to, you know, and up to snuff, up to speed, or whatever. And then the other thing I'm always doing, always for the last decade, is learning new songs, like or in applying the pentatonics to them. And this is what I do. Like at first I would just take 2 chords, right? I'd be like, all right, that's G. What's pentatonic goes with that? G major. And then something like C, right? So keep it simple. And then what shape goes with that chord? The 5th shape, right? So if I'm just sitting there waiting for them to get ready, put their shoes on, find their socks, makeup, whatever, I'm just playing. I pick up the guitar and make a progression like that, like real simple, and then try to like keep the chords going. And then I would eventually start venturing out and know where I was in the other parts of the neck. Like I could keep the chord progression going. G. G to C. So that's what I do, and do 2 chord progressions, 3 chord progressions, and now I try to remember all, like a whole song. This song's complex. It's all diatonic. Hard to say I'm sorry, but it's super catchy, and it's just an awesome tune. I think my high school self, my heavy metal self, would be very confused with that I like it and be like, really, dude? But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, I try to remember all these chords. That's something I really need to work on, is daily exercising that muscle, you know, thinking about, all right, it goes from the 1 chord to the 3 chord to the 4 chord. And that's another thing, is just learning some harmony. You can do that away from the guitar, and learning the number system. And I feel like that helps me. So I'm not going, oh, it's E to G sharp minor to A, B, C, B. You know, I can think it goes from the 1 to the sharp 3 minor to the 4, 5, 6, 5, and then the bridge, a pre-chorus. Hold me now. It's a 6-2-5-1, which is cool in a pop tune. It's not even jazz. And then E. And then F sharp minor. B. And try to just flow around the neck like that. You know, I'm trying to hit more chords right now because I want you to hear the song. But if someone else is playing the chords, I'd be more like inclined to just play single note stuff. And if I'm practicing, I can do that. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to keep keep on top of my like technique here. And that helps, you know, picking and stuff. It takes the place of this sort of that stuff. and following chords, learning new songs. Like if I hear a song on the radio, I'm like, oh, I like the sound of those chords. And that's what I'm doing, is trying to get used to writing chords, hearing sounds. Like, what is that sound? Oh, that's the one chord going to the 5 minor. That's a weird sound. And, you know, collecting these sorts of sounds in my head. That's a lot. So I hope you got something out of it. The short answer is, see where you're at, what the next step is, and like create some sort of small goal or small repeatable thing that you can do every day, 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes, whatever you got for time. Just do it a little bit. Have your guitars around so it's not a struggle. You're not like, oh, I have a second, I got to reach under the bed and pull out the guitar case and open it up and tune it up. That would just keep me from playing, you know, and it might do the same to you. So keep them around, and yeah, I hope that helps. You can check out, if you want, Pentatonic Way. It's my site. I have a lot of great info up there about playing pentatonic scales, learn how to play them over chord progressions, how to break them up and make cool things out of them, sequences, licks, and stuff like that. If you want to check it out. If not, just do the free videos. I don't care. I just want to help out. And drop a question in the comments, and I'll get to it in the next lesson, hopefully. So, all right. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.